What's going on, everyone? Welcome to How to F1 Suzuka for the Mercedes W12 Formula 1 car. Similar disclaimer to when we did this with the McLaren last season. This is not one of my better tracks. I've had decent results here as long as I don't have a sudden onset of rectal cranial inversion. But it's one that, in terms of actual driving feel, I've just never really been able to get comfortable around this place. It's fun to lap around. It's just not one I've ever been able to be very consistent at and lap consistently quickly. That said, I'm going to try to do the best I can, and hopefully this video does help a few of y'all out with just kind of a general idea of the line to run and where you want to lift and brake and how to just get around this place, specifically for those of you who are new to the series or definitely subscribe to the non-alien portion of these guides. So we'll cover the hot lap, and then I'll get into tire strategy as it is for this series. Alright, so coming through this final chicane here and down to the main straightaway. You got your first DRS zone right here. Carry you all the way down into turn 1. For turn 1, you can go in on throttle way deeper, let off here, drag the brake a bit into the second part of the corner. For this section, you know, we used to have to brake a little bit, but here you just lift off the throttle a little bit to get through it. You do want to maybe drag the brake here just a little bit to keep the front end under you, but otherwise you can just stick it back on the throttle, go all the way through this section. For this corner coming up, you could probably take it wide open, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then heading into the hairpin up here, this is one section I've never been able to hit right. Just make sure you get that wheel cut all the way to the left. And then get back on it really gently, because the rear end will try to snap on you. This is another section where we typically hit the brakes, but here I braked a little too much and didn't go as wide as I could through the first part of the spoon. But that's another section where you go in real deep on the throttle and then backing out. Same thing for 130R with ERS. You'd want to lift a bit here, but with this car you can go just wide open right through it, really simple. The DRS detection line was right there. You can take these curves a little bit, just be gentle, because rear end will try to take off on you or the car will bounce a bunch. There's your lap here at Suzuka. Alright, so tire strategy, probably once again going to be just medium no stop. Be very surprised if a pit stop is required for this. Soft no stop might be possible if the conditions and such are correct for that. I found out late last week at Spa that that's the soft no stop was possible. However, you had to have very low track temp and moderate or higher track usage for that session. So I didn't bother trying it because the softs do get kind of ragged after a while, and I felt like it would be safer for me to stay on the mediums. And frankly, there isn't really much of a pace difference between the softs and the mediums right now, so I don't really think it's going to make a huge deal, at least in any split really. I've watched top split races, and it didn't seem like the tire compound really made a big difference as to who was going to end up on top or not. So I think either way it's going to be super competitive, at least as long as it's not too hot. And then in that case, the softs are probably going to die too quickly to be worth any slight speed advantage they may have. So I'll just say that the safe strategy this week is probably going to be a medium no stop. Worst case scenario, maybe a medium run for majority of the race and then softs to end the race if you absolutely feel like you need to pit. So that will about wrap it up for this week at Suzuka. As usual, I hope these guides help get people going. And if you enjoy this content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of it. And that'll about do it. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure that on your qualifying runs, and well, even in the race when you're using DRS behind somebody, that when you enter turn 1, you manually deactivate your DRS, lest you end up in the wall like this.